Hello and welcome to all of our attendees to Ziflow's product release webinar for autumn of 2024. My name is Erik Mansur. I am broadcasting to you from just outside of Boston, although they're doing more road construction, so good luck getting to the airport in less than an hour. We have bucketed our product and feature discussion today into three core themes: the ability to review multiple assets, projects, campaigns at the exact same time, Ziflow's growing integration with Monday.com. We've got a few minor updates, but good ones that are going to help you let your content flow, that's our tagline, faster. John, our Chief Product Officer, is going to dive into generative AI and how perhaps we could use that to power your review process. We'll go over a little bit about our brand new Ziflow support portal, which will be debuting in December of this year. Last, we'll bring this thing in for a landing with a little FYI slide at the end and then send everyone on their way before the top of the hour. Now let's introduce ourselves. As I mentioned, my name's Erik Mansur. I am the head of product marketing here at Ziflow from near Earth orbit, Dedham, Massachusetts. And I fly all over the world. And a lot of the times I fly with the people to the left and right of me. Let me introduce first my good friend, travel partner, bon vivant himself, Mr. Mike Hrymak. Mike, say hi to our audience.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Mike Hrymak. I'm a senior solutions engineer at Ziflow. If you've had the pleasure of going through a product demo in the past 2.5 years, there's a pretty good chance we've met. I'm excited to show you some of the new features that we have rolled out over the past couple of months and ultimately how they can help you out with your team's creative review and approval process.
A frequent flyer from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, a good friend of mine as well, our Chief Product Officer, John Stetic. John, say hi to our attendees.
So good morning and good evening and good afternoon to everyone. John Stetic here, the Chief Product Officer. And while Mike's going to be showing you a lot of the great things that the product team has built and released over the last couple of months, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that we're working on in the future. So looking forward to sharing that with you.
And we are excited to have you. Let's dive into our first theme, Michael, which is how to review multiple assets at the same time. This is something that we've been working on for quite some time. For those of you who have attended, product release webinars over the past few months, whether it be last quarter or the quarter before, you've heard us talk about Project Mosaic. And for those of you who are perhaps unfamiliar with the whole concept of Project Mosaic, let's do a quick recap of what it is we mean when we say that. In our mindset, we believe Project Mosaic is all about the ability to see everything and approve anything. And there's three core tenets with regards to Project Mosaic. It is effectively and essentially product or a project or campaign level reviews. The ability to review multiple assets within a given folder at the exact same time. You can see exactly what it is when I say three core tenets, and that is to say, the ability to make it easier to manage and review entire sets of proofs or project-level reviews, the ability to enable unique versions and approvals on assets within a given group, and the opportunity eventually, and at some point down the road, to streamline notifications for multi-proof projects. And the confines or the concept of Project Mosaic, we have gone beyond having multiple assets in a given proof, as you would be able to do right now using Ziflow's batch review, and moving to a one-to-one and asset-to-proof model, which our gallery view, which we're about to show you, is going to help facilitate those reviews. Mike, let's jump into sort of the natural process for which somebody would kick off a project or a campaign-level review right now, starting with, let's say, the proof creation screen.
Gallery view, some of you may have seen this already. Some of you may have leveraged it already in your review and approval process. But it's just such a great way to share a campaign or multiple variants of proofs with your reviewers. The natural way to start that is by creating the proofs, of course. You can see right now I've got a folder set up. It's for a brochure that we're creating. Maybe we're doing one page at a time. Could be a multi-channel campaign. The first thing I did was create that folder. Now, you can see there are already two stages of this or two proofs in progress. But if I want to add on, maybe I've created more pages. I've got videos that go with it now, or web banners. What I'll do is go into the new proof creation screen, and I'll bring in the files that are relevant for this particular folder. If I need to change to a different folder, I can, of course, by hitting up top. But once these are brought in, we'll see I've got that option, you should be familiar with, of creating two separate proofs or combining them into one. In this instance, we're going to stick with the two separate proofs. From here, I'll probably, add in the brief information, whatever is relevant here. I'll add in my workflow template, of course, as well. And when I now create this proof, these two proofs will be added to my brochure folder. And once they're uploaded and ready to go, I'm going to be good to share that review link to invite the client in, invite my team in to review within the gallery itself.
So nothing really has changed here. You've same proof creation process, same adding workflow templates.
Yeah.
Except what you're adding is the ability to, or at least part of your process is just making sure that the project that you want to share is all contained within an individual folder within your Ziflow setup.
Yeah, all in one folder. It's the same process for people who've been doing this for years now. You're not rocking the boat with the designers, but how we can now share these proofs has evolved to make it a more cohesive way to share all of these together.
Okay, now show me what a reviewer would see once they take this, call it the brochure project, and then see it within a gallery view setup.
Yeah, so when we open up the gallery view, I'm brought in here to review these different files. I can click into each one. On the left, I'll have all of the similar files still ready for me, and even expand this menu out to have them a little bit closer together. And as I click into one, maybe I've made the decision of approved on this. I want to see how it compares to page 3. It'll take me directly to that other proof to mark up with my decision and to maybe share with others and comment and collaborate.
So unlike what people may be familiar with Proof Viewer, where it's basically one proof per proof viewer, we've expanded this capability to almost have that folder worth of data docked to the left-hand side, and you can click through individual proofs pretty quickly and easily. And instantly you can go between one proof to another proof to another proof, and just be able to offer feedback, comments, suggestions. It's all instantaneous, no multiple tabs or windows. It's just happening all within one interface within one browser.
Yeah, one interface, one browser, easy access to all the proofs that are, relevant to each other as a part of a campaign.
So, Mike, what you're showing me right now is 4 pages of a PDF. And in the before times, I would ostensibly upload that as a single PDF into Ziflow, and I would, in the viewer, scroll through the different pages. Yeah. But what that would mean for me as a reviewer is I would offer comments, perhaps feedback on page 3, and then I would approve or mark, really in this case, changes required for the entirety of the object, the entire PDF. In this case, you're having one discrete PDF proof for that one particular page, which allows your reviewers to say, hey, we've already agreed upon pages 1 and 2. The only thing in dispute, the only thing that needs to get worked on is page 3. And therefore, it basically eliminates a lot of the clutter in your designer's head. They're not having to change anything about pages 1, 2, and 4. It's only page 3 that's required to be changed.
Yeah, and when we go to create the new version of page 3, I don't have to upload this full, document again. I just upload the one page, or I upload the one version of the web banner that had edits, or the one video that needed to be cropped. Instead, it's just kind of a singular proof within the wider project here.
And that's right. You mentioned, web banner. This works for any asset within the project, including multiple different assets and disciplines within a project. So you can have your videos, your web banners, any of the 1,200 plus file types Ziflow supports can go within this project level view.
Anything and everything. It can be banners that are related to videos, that are related to a newsletter live link that we uploaded, kind of allows us to bring all this together.
This is quite impressive. You mentioned that if you uploaded a new version, let's say, of an existing file, and I myself as a reviewer, I've either left this tab open or I've received a link to click into this folder, how would I know this page is actually the one that needs my attention first, or perhaps it's new to me?
Yeah, so a couple ways to do it. We could sort by upload date, and that's going to show me what's been added most recently. But as we know, just a second ago, I created the 2 proofs, page 3 and page 4, and had it added to this gallery. Now, I have clicked into page 3 already, so I don't see this new icon. But on page 4, I see that this is new, and I have not yet viewed this. I have not yet made a decision or feedback on it. So right in here, I'll just click in and say, okay, cool, this is the one I need to pay attention to and actually provide feedback on.
It's almost like an unread tag on an email.
Yeah.
It's new for you as a reviewer. You just haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, and if, John's already clicked in, it's not going to affect my gallery. It's new to me.
I love this. There's also a bunch of other meta information contained in here. And if the average reviewer who may not necessarily have access to Ziflow's dashboard may not have that level of depth or level of insight into the individual proofs inside of a folder. But with Gallery View, you have the ability to see those things and on a reviewer by reviewer basis, edit what those things are within your gallery view.
I love our dashboard and the changes we've made over the past 2 or 3 years because I've got that flexibility of seeing what's relevant. I can show different information on the board. I can see stages. If I just want to see what's pending my feedback, I can create a view that does that. We've taken some of this and applied it actually to the gallery view as well. So you'll notice I've got some layout options. I can choose what the thumbnail shape is on here. If it's a long proof name because it's taking the file name for it, I can choose to see just one line or the full name. And I can also see what information is actually presented in the actual widget there. So when I go into the show, you'll see I've got a lot of those options that I can choose similar to the dashboard. One good example is page 1 is still in progress, but I think I made a decision of approved on that. When I click into show and see my decision, it's going to say, Mike, you've already approved this. Maybe we're waiting on someone else to apply their decision as well to actually change the proof status, but I can see what information I've provided so far, or really what's just relevant about these on here.
I love it. So, Mike, the path by which you've walked our attendees through here is you, as Mike Hrymak, Ziflow admin, you've accessed gallery view pretty easily just by, clicking that review button. Show us some of the other ways that an admin or a proof creator, a creative operations person can share this with their reviewers.
Yeah, and this one goes out to Paige because I do see your question about how do we actually get to the gallery view. And there's a couple ways we can do that. So if I'm working in the dashboard, either as a light user or a user, I've got this list of proofs in the folders that I want to review. I can either right-click on the right-hand side and click Review, or up top, if I hit the drop-down, I can go in here and review, and this will take me out to our gallery view. Now, for those reviewers that maybe aren't in Ziflow, those external recipients, I can either just share the folder link and take this and send it off to them in a Slack message or a Teams message, but we did see me earlier upload those 2 pages together and apply a workflow. If I upload multiple proofs at once, it's going to share an email that says, hey, you've got multiple new proofs to review. What we're able to add to that email now is the actual folder shareable link token in the email workflow builder. So in this case, it's saying, hey, Erik, you have 2 new proofs to review. Click here to review all assets in the gallery. I've got the link to go to the gallery view, or I can just open up the individual proofs the way that they're maybe familiar with doing today. So nice way to get them into the gallery through just the email right away.
So really answering specifically Paige's question, herself as a creative ops person can very easily access it from anywhere within the context menu, really right-clicking from within the dashboard, the review button there, and then using email templates with dynamic tokens, and coming in next week, the ability to add those dynamic tokens to custom messages within workflow templates. You will be able to insert that folder link, and when a recipient of that notification clicks on the folder link, they will automatically open gallery view and be able to view all of those assets and subfolders within that gallery view.
Yeah, just another way to get people into gallery view, make it very easy to give them access to this entire board view of all of the assets that are part of the campaign they're reviewing, whether it's single pages of a brochure or 30 different web banner variants, or, a couple videos that go hand in hand.
So Project Mosaic, there is way, way, way more miles between here and the finish line. There is way more sand at the top of the hourglass than at the bottom. This is an ongoing, epic initiative that Ziflow is working on, and gallery view is a huge piece. Make no mistake, but it's certainly not the end. John Stetic, I want to turn the mic over to you and have you talk through some of the next and future, what will be deployed from the Project Mosaic project, redundant, I know, but also some of the things that we plan on releasing over this quarter and the next.
That's great, Erik. Yeah. And it's exciting to see this actually come to fruition. I know we've been talking about Mosaic for a while, and it's been amazing to be able to demo this. And we have hundreds of users actively using this now. So we encourage people to start really leveraging the new gallery view, which is that first part. So there's lots more enhancements to happen in gallery view itself. And David, this probably addresses your question. David was asking about, is there a way to filter out the proofs that can appear in gallery view? So one of the things that we're doing is introducing this concept of grouping as well as show all. So if you have a set of proofs that are organized under a folder with subfolders in them, you can leverage show all to be able to see all the proofs that are in that folder and all the subfolders below it. And then also use grouping, where you can group by a bunch of different data points. So as Mike showed that show menu, you'd be able to group by status, group by your decision, group by folder, or group by even custom objects or custom fields that you might have on the proofs. So what that does is it gives your reviewers the ability to see all the proofs, but group them to focus on just the things that are important to them. And of course, you can collapse those groups as well. So it's filtering in a way, but it's filtering through grouping to allow you to focus on what's really important. So that's one nice addition that we have coming later on for the gallery view. Some of the other areas that we're going to be working on is being able to look at making decisions on this view itself. So being able to go in and for particular proofs that aren't necessarily multi-page or aren't videos, things that you can actually just see right there. Maybe there are images, for example, or small banner ads, being able to make decisions on them right on the fly. Not only being able to do that one at a time, but also being able to multi-select and do bulk decision-making on those different proofs. As well, you can see in this screenshot, these thumbnails look a little bit bigger. We'll be introducing the ability to zoom too, so you can actually get into more details, so you can see those and more of the details of the thumbnails of the proof before you have to jump in and actually go comment on them. Especially this is great if you're doing photo selection or images, you want to be able to see everything and quickly approve the ones that you actually want to leverage. So lots more happening in gallery view for enhancements. Another big piece of Project Mosaic is our board view, which is sort of a transformative way to allow you to work with a lot of your proofs and see all of your assets. We've had lots of people participate in the early access program for Project Mosaic. And if you're interested in getting access to this board view, which is still in our early access program, please reach out to your customer success manager and we can get you enrolled in that program. The board view allows you to put all of the proofs on one page, be able to see them all there, be able to move them around, interact with them like you're on a digital whiteboard, if you will. One of the enhancements that we've added into the proof view is auto layout. So instead of you having to actually lay out all the proofs yourself, you can just click different layout scenarios and the system will just lay it out automatically for you, allow you to zoom in, pan out, and move all around, and then interact with the individual proofs. The last piece is really talking about how do we do better management of all of these proofs. Really two key areas here. One is being able to manage workflows across those different proofs. And the second is around being able to building on more around notifications to be able to bring your reviewers into those groups of proofs. So on the workflow side, today, if you have proofs that you're reviewing through gallery view, all of those proofs can have their own workflow and you can keep them separate if you want, or they can all have the same workflow if you were using the same workflow template or you created those proofs all at the same time. What we will be introducing is awareness of those workflows between proofs. So maybe you're going to do some internal reviews and it's fine that each of the proofs move through their individual stages for the internal review, but you don't want it to go to an external review until all of the proofs are actually approved. And so being able to build the logic that will allow you to advance those in groups as necessary. And then on the notification piece, as I mentioned, building on the idea of having that folder link that you can include in the email, having more thoughtful notifications that can reduce the overall notifications that people can get and have more of a project-centric notification to say, hey, you've got 4 proofs to review in this project, and then take you directly into that project. You can do that today with the folder shareable links if you customize the emails. We'll be building that in as we go over time as well. So some great enhancements to Project Mosaic. I want to thank all the early access participants. The feedback was fantastic. And as I've said before, we're a company that focuses on building products so people can get great feedback. So we love hearing your feedback. And if there's more feedback you've got to give us, we'd love to hear it. Up in the gallery view, you'll see the Give Feedback button. Click on that, type in your information, give us some details. You can even pick some time to meet with us if you want to follow up with more feedback there. So thanks very much to everyone who participated in the program, and looking forward to continuing to enhance this functionality for you all.
I hope nobody selects the word feedback as their Ziflow webinar drinking game, because people will be on the floor by 22 minutes in here. But a lot of great stuff here. Project Mosaic, the future is now available to our pro and enterprise customers right now. And we are so excited about what we have currently and what we'll be offering in the future. Coming up next, more stuff for our pro and enterprise customers, our Monday.com integration. What's now, what's next, and what's in the future. Both myself and Mike, and John as well, had the great opportunities to be able to meet with a ton of folks at the Monday.com Elevate events, both in London and New York over these past 3 weeks. It has been a very enriching, informative experience to speak with project managers and creative operations folks who have come up to our booth, and we're able to get a sneak preview about what our integration with Monday.com is going to look like in the short and long term. What I want to go over right now, Mike, first are two smallish but important updates that we delivered over this past quarter, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into what to anticipate this quarter, Q4 2024, of what our Monday.com integration is going to look like. So, Mike, let's start with an update to a Zybot that allows for us to go out via the API, magical elves, and grab user details to automatically assign tasks.
Just to kind of piggyback up what you said, there was a great event to go partner with the Monday team and be able to meet with some of their clients and discuss how proofing can help them out with their review and approval process. The first two things we're going to show here are some updates to the existing integration inside of what we've done with Monday.com. And as Erik mentioned, the first one is being able to obtain user details from Monday to maybe assign them to a task so that they can use the dashboard features in Monday to get a better understanding of what's happening. So when I am inside of the Ziflow Connect section, those of you that are familiar with it, I've started off with my initial trigger being a new proof has been created, maybe a new version's been created. And then in the Zybot window, there's a new one. And I know this is a long list, but if we focus in on the obtain Monday.com user details, I can select that to be able to pull back user info to then assign them to the task or item back in Monday. I'll add in the email, and that could be, just typing it out, or it could be using the widget to go to the proof details. Maybe I want the proof owner email, and that's going to go and search for them back in Monday. What it will pull back is the information I can then use to assign them to the item, maybe so they get updates or notifications in Monday as it progresses, or just so that they can go and look at my work and see what I need to approve or what's currently been marked as changes required back in the project management tool.
One of the best, and I would say, parts of Monday.com that is very, very similar to Ziflow is there's just no one way to use it. So as you mentioned, this notion of assigning people who may be the owner of a proof or not, this basically gives folks the flexibility to be able to use their Monday.com integration with Ziflow in a way that works best for their creative process. Our next update is another way for people to be able to utilize Monday and perhaps utilize the files column for a greater alignment with the way they've done things in the past using Monday.com's version control. And that is the ability to drag a file into the files column, and then our recipe automatically updates a new version in Ziflow.
Yeah, so in Monday, if you're in the automations and integrations section and you search for Ziflow, there's two options there. There is the ability to add a file to the files column and have it create a proof, or if you create an item from a form with a file, it can create a proof. For the file to file column update, what we'll see, it now says when a file is added to the files column, it's going to create a new proof or a new proof version for each of the file versions. And so as an example of that, back on the actual Monday board, I've got this print add item that's been set to changes required because decisions have rolled through. I created it initially by dropping a file in here. And if I wanted to create the new version, it would be as simple as clicking into the file, going to the version section, and then I'll add my version in, and that will upload it, stack it on top so I can do version comparison, and, of course, update the Monday board with the status and the items and all of that relevant information.
Great. Mike, let's show off some of the future here, shall we? An update that we are planning on deploying before the end of this quarter, call it between the next 3 and 6 weeks, and that is an in-app widget where Ziflow exists within Monday.com. You talked a little bit about just a second ago about dragging a file into the files column, and oftentimes there may be some ceilings, restrictions on the size of files you can use or the types of files you can use using the files column. And people perhaps were doing that because they like to stay within the Monday.com environment. Yeah. But with this new in-app widget, Ziflow lives within the Monday.com environment. So there's no ceilings on file formats. There's no limits on file sizes. Let's show off some of that new widget, that part of that new integration that we'll be deploying over these next few weeks.
Yeah, and just to note, for those of you that have done this in the past, connecting Ziflow and Monday together, you're probably familiar with the integrations property section where I drop my file in, add my workflow, and then choose the corresponding board and item that I want to send updates to. What we've done is taken this screen and we've dropped it right into Monday.com. So we can see that I've got this adventure proof in the design section. It's ready for me to share and upload. Instead of going back to Ziflow and then choosing this item when I create the proof, I can click into that item and we'll have a proofing tab within the item's detail view. You'll see in the top right, I've got the option to create the proof. And so I'll do just that. I'll grab my file. And again, this could be anything. It could be a video that's larger than 50 megabytes or 500 megabytes for the upload limit. It could be an actual website. It could be a batch of web banners that I want to attach to this. I'm not limited within Monday for any file or file type here. I'll then add in, of course, my reviewer template, so I'll choose that. And you will note there is no integrations property section here because it's not necessary. Why would I have to re-tag this item when I'm already in there? I can then go ahead and hit create proof, and Ziflow and Monday will go to work for me. So it's uploading it, it's processing it. In a second, we'll see all of those fun updates happen, like a review stage being dropped in, or a deadline, or a status update. And once that proof starts progressing, I just have to click into the item, and all of the proofs that are attached to it will be listed here for me to go ahead and review.
So there is a world now where the average creative operations manager who's utilizing Monday for their project management may not necessarily need to go into Ziflow's dashboard or use Ziflow's new proof functionality from within a different browser tab. They can do so right from within Monday. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to do anything. And if they're like me and they've got 1,000 browser tabs open, it's one less thing that's drawing memory from your computer.
I've been to a lot of trade shows in my life. It was very fun to be at this one because we are solving a problem for Monday customers at a Monday event where maybe they didn't know they had an option to solve that problem before. So a lot of excitement, a lot of interest in terms of what this can do for you, and just keep the team in Monday, but still be able to leverage all of the great proofing tools that Ziflow has to offer.
Let's talk about the future of our Monday.com integration by turning it over to our Chief Product Officer, John Stetic.
Thanks, guys. So just a quick view as to where we're thinking and where we can go in the future. Obviously, it's a big step forward here of having two UIs integrated together, giving people more of a single pane of glass experience. Another area that's interesting with Monday, which is somewhat specific to some of the Monday capabilities, is it has a very flexible data model where we can sort of add whatever information we want. And so one of the things that we're going to be looking at doing in the future, and we have some early prototypes of this today, is actually creating what we call the concept of a proof board. So instead of having to specifically attach a proof to one task, any proof that's created in Ziflow will show up as an item in this specialized proof board. So it's a Ziflow proof board that will exist in Monday, and it becomes a native Monday object. This allows you to do a couple things. One is it allows you to have a one-to-many connection between an item and multiple proofs, which is actually really interesting. It allows you to also then simplify the integration because now you know exactly where the data needs to get replicated to, and it can just get replicated right out of the box. And thirdly, what it allows you to do is actually get into using some of the Monday native analytics capabilities that you have. For example, being able to look at the Monday dashboards. So in this example here, we can see which reviewers have items or have proofs that are still actually in progress. But this is all native data in Monday. So for those of you who do a lot of project management and analytics on your projects, this gives you a greater insight into the overall pipeline of your creative work and where different proofs are stuck potentially, and being able to marry that together with other analytics that you have right in Monday. So this is still future stuff. This is an area that we're working on and should be looking at in the Q1 timeframe, hopefully bringing to market, but very interested in getting more feedback on that as well. So take a drink. Some more feedback would be great to have in this area. So a couple other questions have come up too around working with other project tools. Of course, we'd love to hear feedback on other project tools, whether that's through our ideas board or just through feedback through your CSMs. We do continue to look at all of the integrations that we do. It's just this quarter, we put a big focus into Monday and really expanding out what we can do. But of course, all the other tools are key for us to be working with as well.
Avoiding having to switch between tabs, speeding up processing time or upload, download times. All of those are sort of macro barriers with regards to being able to utilize your SaaS tools faster. Well, what about the micro barriers? What about the things that we trip over sometimes in our brain about things? Having to do things, the same thing multiple times over in order to get something done. So that's what our next theme is all about. So helping you let your content flow faster through a couple of minor updates that are going to really improve and remove some of the speed bumps, the brain-laden speed bumps that can occur when utilizing a user interface or having to do something utilizing a software like ours. Mike, let's jump real quick over to our updated proof status appearance. We have really drawn a line of demarcation between the status of the proof and the reviewer's status through the use of a minor UI tweak that we think is really going to play well in our users' brains so they instantly know what the status is or what their own status is given a proof.
Yeah, if we're doing a high volume of content, I'm looking through the gallery view or the dashboard, I want to be able to quickly identify what I actually need to worry about, what I need to review, approve, and what the status of everything is. So we've made some minor UI tweaks. We've probably even seen it so far today. You may have picked up on it. And a good example is right here in this gallery. I can see that the status of the proof overall is in progress and it's shaded in. But the decision that I've made is approved, and we've got some new icon and updates here. Now, the shading and the icons are really important, but the most important part is that it's easy for you to be able to distinguish between the proof status and your decision. Because even though sometimes your decision may switch off the proof status to something else, it doesn't always. And so at a glance, I can quickly identify, train my brain that I've approved this, maybe the team has it, or the team's approved this, I have it, but it doesn't matter. Whatever it will do to help you kind of visualize this easier, that's our goal.
And this iconography cascades throughout the dashboard, throughout the proof viewer, gallery view, emails, PDF exports, and so much more that will start lodging in your brain as a user over the next couple of quarters. I absolutely promise you that. Mike, let's jump over to our slideware. Some of the other updates we've made over this past quarter to let your content flow faster. It was a scant 3 months ago that the three of us were sitting in front of our webinar attendees and telling them all about the ability to download original files in bulk from Ziflow's dashboard and how we increased it from 50 gigabytes to 250 gigabytes. Well, we 4x'd that again this quarter. Right now, go to Ziflow's dashboard, select multiple assets, and you can download those original assets in a zip file that can now be the size of 1 terabyte. So that's a nice size increase. And again, let your content flow faster because you don't have to do that 4 buckets, 4 different zips all the way over of 250 each. You can just do it all at once. 1 terabyte worth of files coming down via zip file from within Ziflow's dashboard. Second thing that makes things go a little faster is via our API. We are so fortunate to have a lot of advanced customers who connect to Ziflow directly via our API, whether it be for their own internally built project management tool or for a whole host of other reasons. And this past quarter, we've made it easier to get more detailed information about folders, subfolders. So that is to say that rather than having to go to a subfolder's parent folder and get information about the subfolders to then have to be able to go out and get additional information about the stuff in that folder, now just go directly to whatever folder is based on the folder ID. Again, fewer API calls using our RESTful API makes just the project process go just a touch faster. And every time you do just a touch faster, the whole thing is going to end up moving quite a bit that much more fast, helping you let your content flow. That was theme number 3. Let's talk about the future, shall we? And the future might be run by robots, AI seemingly everywhere. And we have already introduced AI into our software just about a year ago, Ziflow AI. Right now, if Pro and Enterprise customers can go into Proof Viewer and hit the @AI and ask a ChatGPT-powered chatbot to help them collaborate within a proof itself. It will be sent the proof brief information and whatever that query is, and you can basically unstick your writer's block or help settle an argument for you and your team of collaborators. But it should go beyond content collaboration. What more can we do with AI? And John Stetic, Chief Product Officer, is here to tell us. John.
Excellent. Back again here. And I think what's really interesting is that AI has started to continue to grow and develop. As Erik mentioned, we all hear about it all the time, but it's really a case of, all right, these are interesting things. Can I do something useful with it? And so what we've been doing over the last year is just monitoring the state of the art and seeing what's working, seeing what's possible. And we're starting to see some interesting things could be actually possible in the future. So our vision for AI here is to accelerate the review cycle to help teams create great content. That's what we're really focused on. And so when you think about Ziflow, one of the special powers that we give you is your ability to automate a lot of your flows. And really, when we think about proof management and routing, we automate a lot of that for you. For those of you who used to have to do this through email or printing things out and routing it around the office, we've automated all of that on the proof management side. Now what we want to do is to see how can we automate more on the review and approval side. and how can technology help you move through that faster? And we think we found some interesting opportunities to explore, both based on customers' needs and feedback that we've got, as well as the technology is getting to the point where it's like, this is a tipping point here. We might be able to do something interesting. So what I want to do is just take you through two different scenarios of how we might be able to apply AI. This is all very experimental. We've been running some very, very early prototypes that seem interesting, but we want to share some of these ideas with you and actually start to collaborate with more of you as we think through these ideas. So the first view that we're taking is this concept of a compliance check. So something we have on our roadmap, which we'll be working on, is this concept of checklists. So allowing you to define a set of checks that need to be done through a review. Now, what if we think about automating that? So it doesn't just need to be a manual check. And so in this case, a designer creates an asset, uploads it, that version 1 goes through a stage, which is then actually an auto review, where here are a set of checks that actually get done by the AI. So the AI detects, are you using the right brand colors? Is your logo used correct? Is there a disclaimer that needs to be included in here? Oh, we see that we're missing a disclaimer at the bottom. So this actually fails that check. So no humans needed to get involved in that. But now the designer's reminded, oh, I need to actually add in a disclaimer. So now the next version comes up. The designer submits that, uploads the new version. The disclaimer is included. The auto review now runs. Brand looks good. Logo looks good. Disclaimers there. Check. Yep. Okay. We've just passed. So now we've run these automated compliance checks right at the beginning, right from the start. So then we've reduced any of the manual cycles that need to happen there. So now when people start to are looking at the assets, they can be looking at more for this precise things that humans want to be looking for. Is it on brand? Is there something proper for the creative aspect of it? So now we go into the human review stage. We have our reviewers come in as they traditionally would. They make in some comments. Oh, I think we need to have a sun added in here. We need to make the logo look larger. So now the designer takes from version 2 over to version 3, makes those creative changes that are necessary. That auto review process runs again. So we make sure that those compliance checks are still true and we haven't had any regressions between version 1 and version 2. But now we get into some change verification. So now that the compliance has run, we can now check, did the comments that were made in version 2, did those actually get applied to version 3? So we can see, is there a sun? Make the logo look larger. Yep, that all passes. So good. Now we've checked. So now what we've done is we've focused, the humans are spending their time putting in the thoughtful human thoughts into the review process and giving the feedback that's necessary. But we've removed a lot of the manual verifications that typically get done because now we can delegate those off to an automated assistant. Now, this is a bit of a future view. For those of you who have been on past webinars, I've talked about the concept car idea. This is a concept car. This invites the conversation for us, but we're starting to get pretty excited about what the technology can actually deliver. And so if this is something that's interesting to you, we'd love your feedback on it. Some of you have already been active in giving us feedback. Our ideas board is always available. So ideas.ziflow.com, and you can jump into the ideas board. There's 3 specific features that we talked about here. The first is around this automated compliance and then proof verification as well, or change verification. So please give us some feedback here, as well as this concept of checklists, where we have both manual checklists, but also the ability to use those checklists as definitions on the automated checks to be routed. So please jump in, ideas board, give us the feedback around these areas. Any other ideas? If you see some other things that are interesting here for you, please vote on them, give us some comments, and if you've got new ideas, please submit them. We love reviewing this insight, and it really helps us shape our priorities. Now, if you're particularly interested in what we're thinking about around AI, we'd love to have you join us. We're going to open up a small limited program here for the Review AI early access to work with just maybe about a half a dozen accounts who are willing to test out some of these different ideas with us. So if you're someone who has a high volume of proofs with fairly repetitive review tasks, you need to have a bit of an experimental mindset because we're going to be working through and iterating through some ideas. And if you want to test and refine some of those flows, and if you actually have some time to be able to itemize and iterate on some of these automated checks and actually review the experimental results, pretty important for us that we can test these ideas on production content, because that's where we know it's really working. With AI, it's really a case of you got to have a bunch of at-bats to see, is this doing a good enough job? And is it at the point where it can replace some of those menial tasks that a human needs to do? So if you can join this program, if you're interested in applying, grab that QR code. There'll also be a link in a follow-up email where you can apply for this. It's going to help you accelerate your review process with access to this experimental AI functionality. It's going to put you at the forefront of AI usage in creative operations. This is a new field that we're exploring here, and we'd love to partner with some of you to help evolve that and give you great collaboration, both with our own internal team and also other forward-thinking professionals in the overall creative ops and Ziflow community. So love to see those of you applying. There's a couple of questions there if you can fill those out, and then we'll reach back out to you later this month as to what the next steps will be for those people that have been accepted into the program.
Another big update here, John, that I'm going to kick to you for a second, and that is to say that our support capabilities are going through an evolution as well. Coming in December of 2024, we are enhancing our help and support channels through a couple different ways. John, do you want to talk through those?
Yeah, so there's three main changes that we're making here. One is an update to our help center, so it's getting a whole fresh coat of paint. Some of the articles are being reformatted and rewritten. But there's really a couple key things here that I think some people will like. One of the new features that you're going to be able to do is actually subscribe to articles. This is especially powerful with our release notes. So if you'd like to get notifications of any articles that are happening, you can actually just subscribe to that. And then so any changes that happen, you'll be notified right away. A big new change here is our customer support portal. So this is going to be a new interface that you're going to be able to go in. You can log issues with the support team. You can look at previous issues. You can follow up on issues, and there will be a record within your organization of all cases that were created for your team. So it's a really powerful way to be able to interact with the support team while also tracking all the items that you've actually opened up in the past. Then, of course, our support channels then expand by having this customer support portal. But the channels that you know and love today still exist. The live chat will exist, our email, and of course, the direct access to our customer support managers for those of you on our enterprise plan. Those are all available to you with now the addition of this customer support portal. So this is a transition that we're going through right now. We've got the early portal up and running, and we're going to start to work on transitioning articles and tickets. You're not going to lose any history. All of your previous tickets will all be ported over into the new system, and this will be going live later in December of this year. Now, building on top of that, not only can are we thinking about how we can support you better in using the product, but also how can we help you learn more about how to use the product? So two big areas to look at here. If you haven't signed up for the In the Flow newsletter, please do sign up for that. We've got lots of great information that goes out monthly, sharing information about what's going on within the product, within the space overall, interesting things in the creative operations and creative space. So please go and subscribe to that. It's a great way to keep up to date. And also our Ziflow customer office hours. So our customer success team is available for you on a weekly basis. If you've got some questions, if you're maybe not part of one of our managed accounts, you're able to just sign up for those hours and be able to just join in, get your questions answered, and talk to an expert live. So we want to make sure that you've got access to all these resources, whether they're online, whether they're newsletters, whether there's office hours sessions, to be able to help you do more with Ziflow.
Dave from Toronto, Faye from Corby in the UK, Amy from St. Cloud, Minnesota, Kim from Detroit, and Key from Temecula, California. I hope you are all subscribed to our In the Flow newsletter. We would love to be able to send cool stuff and put it in your inbox every month, whether it be about creative operations things or even product updates. So everybody who's on this call, please do get subscribed to our newsletter. It is not just a labor, but a labor of love. Dustin has the question. How do you view proofs from gallery view that sit within subfolders? Great question, Dustin. Mike, you're sharing your screen here. Can you show what that looks like within gallery view?
Yeah, and so this might have been missed. I definitely didn't point it out, but right now we're actually in a folder that has a couple subfolders within it. If I open this up, I go to review it, what we will see is not only the 4 proofs that were in that dashboard, but there's also now all of these sub-proofs in the subfolder that I want to view in the gallery or maybe the board view for me to start providing feedback on.
And then you can
And
use
just
the
Mike,
top of the screen, right? And you can go back to where you were before, the nesting folder.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
I was going to say, Mike, just
Go ahead, John.
while we're in that screen, if you just jump back into where we have all those all the banner ads on the in the gallery view there, and actually maybe just quickly bring up the board view too for those who haven't seen it. I had a quick screenshot there, but this sort of gives a live view, being able to, you've got rich media HTML5 banners, being able to run those all, move them around, organizing them, and then being able to even drive through some of these different layout scenarios too, in how you actually sort and organize these. So we've tried to create some of these customized layouts here that give a way to be able to organize it. And we'd love more feedback as to how we should be thinking about laying out these depending on the different asset types that you actually have.
Well, how about that? Looks like Mike's in the early access program because he can get board view live. That's pretty impressive.
I had to beg, but they let me in. And yeah, I mean, just a quick example out of here, like having all of these on one screen gives you that full view. The one that always stands out to me, I think the balloon on this needs to be moved up. I just click in, I add my comment, say, let's move that up and move on. And the rest of the proofs are good to go. So,
gosh, I love gallery view. One more thing on that folder and nesting subfolder thing, and I know we're over answering Dustin's question here, but before the end of the month, we're going to be adding a little carrot that allows for you to minimize the look at your subfolders at the top of the screen. So it's entirely possible that people are using folders as a file storage solution within Ziflow. Very soon, if you've got a ton of subfolders and you just want to focus on the proofs within that folder, and absent of the subfolders, you'll be able to minimize or collapse the view of folders. That is coming in Ziflow, in gallery view, before the end of this month. Again, Pro and Enterprise users, we love hearing your feedback on gallery view. Please do let us know what you think about the Project Mosaic initiative as it continues to grow. Mike, real quick, could you go to ziflow.com/blog? That is ziflow.com/blog. I know I'm putting you on the spot here and we're seeing your browser history in real time, but ziflow.com/blog, right at the top of the screen there where you can enter your work email, that's going to allow you to subscribe to our In the Flow newsletter. So ziflow.com/blog, ziflow.com/blog, and type in your email address and click subscribe, and you'll be on our email list for the In the Flow newsletter. Briefly, we got about 4 or 5 minutes to go here. Bobby asks, is it possible for AI Smart Review to highlight edits made in later versions where they could have been made in an earlier version in order to educate on how this step can decrease potential high volume proofs? That's an interesting use case, John. So having your review AI sort of learn as you go. You guys have thought about that already, and sort of, the brainstorming you guys have done.
Yeah, it's something that we've been thinking about, is how do you use prior art, essentially, that's been done, or prior work that's been done, to actually better inform the model to make different decisions. So these are exactly the types of questions that we want to get into, and why we'd love a handful of customers to be able to join this early access program, so we can really dive into the details of this, because you all know your workflow really, really well, and some of you have unique workflow in certain places. There's a lot of commonality that exists between different types of organizations. So getting into the context of the actual review process, depending if you're, say, a health insurance company, as some people might be from, or whether you're a sports company, or you're reviewing textbook work, all different workflows that you might have. And so we'd love to actually think about the specific application of AI for the different types of content and the different type of workflow that you use.
I love questions about review AI moments after we show it and sort of sneak preview it, and that is why the early access program is going to be so cool. Those types of roundtable brainstorming type discussions about the future of creative operations and the future of Ziflow could be well within your hands. Join our early access program today. Nice little plug there. Get your last scans into this QR code, and then we will bring this webinar in for a landing. Mike, let's head to our FYI screen. Please go to Ziflow's YouTube channel. There's a ton of amazing content there, a lot of Mike's voice with our how-to videos. A recording of this webinar to share with your colleagues is coming soon. We're aiming for Monday, so we'll be able to share them a link directly to that YouTube video, and that would be awesome. Ziflow's Help Center still exists, still amazing, and it's evolving, December of 2024. But right now, in this moment, you can go to our Autumn 2024 webinar recap in case you missed the first half of this webinar, you'll be able to click on the various links, access the various release notes of the stuff that we talked about and the features that we released over these past few weeks. Finally, and last but not least, your customer support resource is available to you. Schedule a time to meet with them at ziflow.com/schedule-a-call or reach out to the CRM or CSM you already know and like via email. They would love to go over some of these features more in depth with you at your leisure. It has been an absolute joy, an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to present to all of you our autumn product release webinar here at Ziflow. My name is Erik Mansur. I work for the only enterprise-grade collaborative proofing platform, and on behalf of Mike Hrymak and John Stetic, I want to thank all of you for attending our webinar live or watching this on demand. Until after the first of the year, happy holidays, happy New Year 2025. We will see you then. Have a sparkling day.